lots of times this is causation of pain. Also, when we looked at the back, we have back muscle. We have the erector spinae in the back. Then in the second layer deeper, we have the small ones, the multifidi. And then when we take those away and we go deeper from the back to the front, where the most front one would be the psoas for us, in terms of what we're discussing now. In between the back and the psoas is the other muscle, that's the Gracilis femoris. So that's like right here on the inside. If you grab yourself, and you can feel it, it often really reactively tight when we have problems doing this, bending stuff. And so that's attached to the crest up here, and then it goes up to the ribs, rib 12, moving on to rib 12. And there is also segments that go into the lumbar spine, and so it almost makes like a triangle. Go up to that side. And so that muscle is very strong in stabilizing that spine down in here. And it stabilizes that. And also bending it from side to side. So that's the Gracilis femoris. It's a pretty important muscle. It's like we don't see it that well. That's why we don't talk about it too much. The next muscle group that now we have brought the leg out, now we need to bring it back in. Sometimes that just happens with gravity, it comes down, but if it doesn't happen with gravity, we have muscles that do abduction. And where do you think those muscles are? The abductors are out here, the adductors are probably somewhere here. So they're attached here on the inside, and the anchor is close to the midline as we can get. That will be the pubic bone in the front, and we also have some that go to the sit bone in the back. So we got a set of muscles that basically attach here, attach here and anchor into the back of the femur. These are the adductor muscles. The adductors plus 2. Because when you look at them, we have Pectineus, and then adductors, and then at the end we have Gracilis. So we have adductors to main move, and for us it's going to be the adductors because, well, actually not quite. We also have the Gracilis. Because when you look at your model, you see these muscles here, it gets all goofy. Who's who? So what I do is all of these on the inside are adductors. And then the last one, the one that goes just up and down, that's going to be Gracilis. So let's go through them individually. So we go from the short here to the down long one that goes all the way to the knee. So the first one we have is the Pectineus, and that one is, of origin, is the ramus of the pubis. So these are attached here in the front, and then it goes down and it goes into between the lesser trochanter, which is this one, and the linea aspera. Remember that in the back? The back of the femur has this roughage. That's the linea aspera. And so it goes in right here. So this muscle is pretty small. It's right here in the front. And then that is followed by the adductor brevis and longus that come down, again, from the ramus in the front, from the pubic bone, down further to the back, the linea aspera in the back. And then we got two muscles that move into the back, the ischial tuberosity. So they go into the sit bone. So that's good, because that gives us sort of a bed from the back of the femur going backwards and frontwards. So we can stabilize this abduction with a little front stuff, with a little back stuff. So that's kind of good. You think movement, right? So the adductor magnus goes all the way from the ischial tuberosity all the way down the linea aspera, included into this little bump right here that we didn't study. It's called the adductor tuber bone. We don't need to worry about it, but it's a little bump on the inside of the femur. And that's where that muscle goes in. And then the last one is the Gracilis. And the Gracilis is the one I'm tagging here on the model. But that goes all the way and crosses the knee joint and anchors into the tibia. So now, if you think about it, you've got a whole set of muscles that can powerfully bring that in like that. And if you think even more, these muscles stabilize if you go side to side, or you know anything like that. If you do anything like that. So those are really cool. Now we're going to go to the knee. So when we look at the knee, we got two main motions. We got a flexion of the knee, we got a bend, and we got a big back and extend it, kick it out. So when we look at the knee flexors, we expect those muscles to be what? In the back, right? Those are the hamstrings. Flex the knee, they are in the back. The hamstring have two sets of muscles, and on the model it's nice. It's one set that goes to the pinky toe, to the outside, and one set that goes to the inside. The one that goes to the outside is known as the biceps femoris. Bi means two, ceps means head. So that's one muscle that has two heads. One head starts off in the sit bone, which for my purposes, for the most part, the hamstring start in the sit bone and go to below the knee. But that starts in the sit bone. It also has a little bit coming from the femur and then goes into the lateral, the fibula. Lateral tibial comes out the fibular head. And then on the inside, medially, we got two muscles, the semitendinosus and the semimembranosus. When you look at the distal part, one looks a little flatter and one a little rounder. The membranosus is where it's flatter, the tendinosus is where it's rounder. So what's interesting, you see that these muscles jump to joints. The sit bone jumps the hip itself, and then it jumps the knee. So these muscles are sort of having a powerful work to do. They have to, when you walk or run, they have to push off and bend the knee, and then they also help extend the thigh. So there's a force transfer there, so that's why they often get injured. And then when we look at the knee extensors, we got the kick out. So those are the quadriceps. Those are all the massive muscles we have in the front of the knee, or the front of the thigh. Oops. Right here in the front. Four muscles. Quad means four. So there are four muscles that make up the quadricep. We have vastus. Vastus means massive, and those are the biggest muscles in our body. We have a vastus lateralis, we have a vastus medialis, and we have a vastus intermedius. So we have one big muscle on the outside, the lateralis, one big muscle on the inside, the medialis, and then one on top in the middle, intermedius. Enter the middle. They attach at the femur, actually in the back of the femur, both of those, I mean the lateralis and the medialis, sorry, they attach in the back of the femur, the linea aspera, where all this other stuff is already attaching, and then they come around and reach into the tip of the knee, the tibial tuberosity, as a massive one tendon thing. Big muscles. You see there when it starts, one on the inside and one on the outside. That's the linea aspera there in the back. And then it feeds into, that's the patella that you can see, it feeds into this big, massive tendon going into the knee in the front. So you can kick a soccer ball really strong. The other reason why these muscles are so massive is because when you stand, they have to contract. Otherwise you fall down. So they're always working. They're anti-gravity muscles. We got the glutes for doing that because they have to push the hip straight. We got the quads for doing that because they have to push the knee straight. And then we're going to get the back calf muscles because they have to put the foot straight. And so when we get up for a chair, all those muscles, those groups, are very important to stand up against gravity. And you believe it or not, that's a really important thing. You can actually see how somebody's doing by how they get off a chair. Because once you don't get off a chair anymore, then you're not in good shape. And that's something that needs to be done for that. That's pretty crucial. The vastus intermedius is the one that lays on top there's two laying on top. If you look at the model, we got the top one, we got to take that off, and then underneath we got weird stuff looking things. But that's the vastus intermedius underneath. So that thing is attached in the front of the femur Then on top of those three, in the middle we got one that's called the rectus femoris. And that lies on top. Oops. And that one is interesting because that one is attached at the, it's not really attached at the ASIS. Well, some of it is actually attached at the AIIS, a little below it, but it's close enough for us to find that landmark. We need to know where it is. And then a little bit of it goes right into the hip and attaches almost where the hip anchors into this isotonic. But that's laying that on top, coming all the way from the hip, reaching over and going past the knee into the tibial cross. So that's an interesting muscle because it also, in addition to just kicking the knee straight, it will help raise the hip up. And so it helps the iliopsoas a little bit because it has that weak force as it can pull on that front of the hip. Does that make sense? We're getting there. We're getting there. So good. Now we got muscles that bend the knee, we got to straighten the knee. So that's pretty good. We got a couple more goofballs that we need to talk about here. And one is a muscle, it's the longest muscle in your body, that lays on top of all this stuff in the front and goes from the ASIS now proper and crosses the knee joint to the inside. So it goes from the ASIS across the knee and goes on the inside. Anchors into the tibia there. So from here, crossing over, going right into here. So when you figure out what that thing does, it's very complicated. Look at that action. Flexes and lateral rotates and abducts the femur and flexes and medial rotates the tibia. Who cares? It's called the sartorius muscle for a reason. Sartorius means tail. In the old tail world, you cross over the knee. That muscle guides the knee crossed over, the foot to be crossed over the nose. That's what that muscle is. It's right here.